Greetings friends on the Cryptosphere channel. As you can see at the moment of recording this video, Bitcoin is trading above the psychological mark of $100,000. All day yesterday we saw that positive sentiment prevails, and it increased sharply at the start of American trading. Of course, we can talk about purely cryptocurrency reasons for this and even put the owl on the globe. But I think that we are now seeing this as part of the global movement in the world markets, where Bitcoin is following the global trends at the moment. Of course, sometimes one day we may not see some correlations, but as a rule, when we analyze the weekly profitability or unprofitability of the markets and compare them, everything falls into place. But yesterday was not a day full of contradictions. For example, at the opening of the American trades, the S&P 500 was growing quite well, which in principle was transferred to the Bitcoin. So let me start my narrative with a heat map of the S&P 500, where we see that mainly due to large technologies this index has added well, although the ratio of the company is negative, because most of them show minus, and of course we cannot fail to mention the Nasdaq respectively. With such a blooming situation of high technology, Nasdaq also added well. Well, let's go to the global analysis of what happened yesterday with trading and financial instruments. After the infamous Santa Claus rally for stocks and the controversial one for Bitcoin, yesterday the markets started to return to normal. Well, the first thing we would like to draw attention to is not the best of statistics that we watched yesterday. The U.S. manufacturing index fell from preliminary levels, factory orders were disappointing, while durable goods were revised down significantly. The soft inputs data has continued to decline since Trump was elected, and that's odd given that most sentiment polls are generally full of enthusiasm after the re-election of an American president. By the way, fake news about Trump's duties was rampant yesterday. I was going to talk about it in principle, but there were refutations, so I did not want to dispel the fake news in any way or comment on it. As I said, yesterday mega capitalization stocks rose nicely and hit new record highs. After that they have declined a little bit, but they are still 12 higher than they were pre-election. If we were to pick apart a company like Nvidia, the stock jumped more than 3 to a new record high. It is above $150, with the markets anticipating the CEO's keynote speech today at the Consumer Economics Show. Treasuries were relatively quiet today, although they were also reacting to the same headlines about Trump's tariffs. Probably one of the most important indicators is the dollar index. It was most severely impacted by the tariff turbulence, falling on reports that Trump was considering a less expansive tariff plan, then rising again when he denied anything and everything. Still, the dollar finished the day lower, and here we see a major historical parallel. If the dollar index experiences weakness, then that gives risk assets like the S&P 500, gold and Bitcoin a chance. Despite the dollar weakness, gold was unable to end yesterday's day in the plus side. As the technicians say, gold bounced off its 100-day moving average today, but for now, it is limited by the 50-day moving average. Oil prices ended trading lower after a 5-day winning streak. Meanwhile, I reversed at its 200-day moving average and held above the $73.30 mark, after the historical link to the Santa Claus rally. All these historical calculations about what used to be of such a bitter flavor, but statistics are statistics. You cannot take them away. If we take this very statistic, then so far, the so-called January effect is coming, as if hinting at the continuation of all the positive trends. Yesterday we discussed the information that one of the factors of Bitcoin growth was the fact that Trump was to be confirmed as President of the United States tonight. It is a congressional procedure. That's what happened. Perhaps the positive vibes from that pushed not only the Bitcoin market, but also big technology benefited from it. Bloomberg is Bloomberg after all. I think Trump was declared the winner of the election at a ceremony. That's how the article is titled 4 years after the riots. This article on Trump could have been renamed "What a Cutie, Kamala Harris, and What Idiots Americans Are for Missing Out on Such a Woman," because she is the model from which to paint a holy picture. Therefore, I will not focus on this and officially turn the page with the words, "This event if it had any impact whatsoever, has been played out. We are seeing the devastating consequences for the US anti-cryptocurrency miners who are abandoning this rusty vessel, which will remain afloat for just under 2 weeks. They have dug a political hole for themselves by their own actions, and drowned the Democratic Party with their persecution of cryptocurrency. And there's no denying that Warren, for one, is the #1 culprit of the defeat. Perhaps under a new Democrat president in 4 years they will start climbing out of their crypts, where they are currently running to. But that will be the story of the next presidential election. I hope that there will be such laws in the US that it will not be as easy as Biden and his fellow cryptocurrency industry did. So, Michael Barr of the Federal Reserve is going to resign as Vice Chairman for Federal Reserve Oversight, and this will be the next resignation of a US official who is linked to Operation Checkpoint 20. For now, I'll say that presumably agreed to federal action to debank cryptocurrency companies. Barr's resignation will take effect on February 28, maybe even sooner if a successor is appointed, but still, the type will continue as a member of the Federal Reserve Board of Governors. I do not know if Trump will kick him out or not, and maybe only Jerome Powell has the authority to do that, but I think Congress will ask him questions when this whole operation is considered. In general, the guilty and this comrade will be held accountable. He explicitly stated that the Federal Reserve would likely find it unsafe and impractical for banks to directly hold crypto assets on their balance sheets. Senator Cynthia Lummis bluntly accused him of Michael Barr of completely failing in his duties as Vice Chairman for Oversight, and made mistakes at every turn, which allowed Operation Checkpoint 20 to take place and illegally increased his power. Well, you and I agree with this cross that appeared in the impromptu drawing called Wanted, where we see the ideologues of Checkpoint 20. Well, of course, one of the highlights is the CryptoF data. They probably only intensified today, since they over Friday were strong, and on Monday, we saw equally strong flows into the plus side. In 2 trading days, thus, funds added $1.9 billion for the 3rd and 6th. No one withdrew a single dime. The sentiment on Bitcoin is quite strong. Note the fact that enough time has passed between the 3rd and 6th numbers to not act on any emotions. It is not often that you see an inflow of $900 million in the short history of Bitcoin ETFs. Well, that's 2 inflows in a row, and yesterday's inflow is also noteworthy for the fact that it took place at over $130. BlackRock is not in first place. It is in the shadow of Fidelity Investments, where we see 2 days of $357 million in inflows and today's $370 million. They have taken over the palm of the top spot. There's not much to say on the Ethereum ETH, except that BlackRock is more interested in Ethereum than anyone else. On January 3, plus $33 million, and for today $124 million. It should be said that this is the steepest amount of additions since December 19, second place in terms of total inflows. Of course, friends, I recommend subscribing to the channel, where you will find tons of additional information on cryptocurrency and the traditional market. Today in the video I tried to mention the word sailor less. I was more interested yesterday in how BlackRock is starting at the pre-market on their ETH. We saw that the buy orders there yesterday were substantial. Also of note is that more and more people who want to get into power, as it is in Honduras, or people in charge of financial policy, like the governor of the Czech National Bank, are talking about Bitcoin in some way and showing commitment to it. That's all for now. The Cryptosphere channel has been with you. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed for some reason. Hit the bell so you do not miss out on new videos, because there will be more interesting stuff to come. Bye bye.